Trimester, Arizona. And my name's Eileen. I'm the village lead, but it takes a village. So your input is really important. And I'm so glad that you're here. I just want to tell you a little bit about fourth trimester. Fourth trimester Arizona supports the mental, physical, and emotional health of parents in the first 5 years, especially, and beyond. We do this through community events and fourth trimester Arizona villages, which we have 6 of now, which is pretty exciting. And we have a conference that we just concluded on Saturday, which you will be able to find some videos that will be uploaded. And we are involved in the fourth trimester ecosystem, which is for those who support parents and children. And also, I just want to highlight at this point our speaker, Hayley. Hayley Grow owns Raising Flowers Birth. She's a doula, a placenta encapsulation specialist, and a student midwife in Tucson. Before starting studies for midwifery, Hayley went on a Mayan midwifery journey in the Yucatan, learning traditional Mayan abdominal massage and herbal remedies. Motherhood and taking courses in her midwifery herbology have formed her passion for herbal healing. Hayley has been married to her husband for 8 years, and together they have 2 daughters. Hayley's family moved to Tucson from Utah this fall. And when Hayley is not doing birth work or studying, she spends time with her family. Hayley's going to share with us some easy postpartum herbal remedies, including teas, sitz baths, perineum healing, and nipple healing. Thank you, Hayley, and we so look forward to learning some new and exciting tips. So thanks for your time, and take it away.
Thank you, Eileen. And thanks for inviting me to do it. I love an excuse to just talk to other moms about herbs and let them know that it's super easy. Like probably just 2 years ago, I never even drank a tea until I realized how much benefits herbs do have and how easy they are to use. And it's less intimidating than I originally thought it was. So that's my main point for today. So I'm going to go ahead. And I just want to mention that most of the herbs that I'll be showing you and talking about are generally considered to be some of the safest herbs, and that's why I chose to talk about them. A lot of these herbs you can take while you're pregnant, breastfeeding, and really at any time in your life. A lot of them are even children safe. That being said, there's sometimes some contradictions. For instance, some of the sedation and mood stabilizing herbs should be limited if you are already on a sedating medication like an antidepressant, an SSRI, or something that many postpartum people take. So I just want you to kind of be aware that if an herb has sedation effects, that you should be conscious about what other medications you're using. And to not swap one for the other without fully consulting who you need to consult for that. So just ask your therapist if you use any medications where you feel like an herb could have a contradiction with it. Let's go. So you can go ahead and screenshot, but I just want to prepare you that any recipes I share, I'm going to be posting a PDF later, so you can have those. So these are just a fraction of all the herbs used in postpartum in the fourth trimester and just in general, but these are my favorites and most commonly found in literature. So it's super easy for you to open pretty much any herbal book and find references to these herbs and how they can help you. Which makes it easy because after today, you'll still want to read more about them, specific ones that called to you while we talk about it today. But all of these are good on their own and mixed together, and we'll talk about that as well. Some of these, most of you recognize, like we've all heard of red raspberry leaf. That's really promoted throughout pregnancy, but it's super beneficial postpartum too, and especially for regulating our cycles. Chamomile, lavender, those ones are super common, and you can find it at even grocery stores. Whether it be on a balcony apartment, your kitchen window that's facing a south side sun, or a huge backyard garden, I challenge you to plant at least a couple herbs so that you have a medicine to make fully on your own from beginning to end. You can start from a seed, or you can just simply buy a small plant and nourish it so that it nourishes you in return later. And it creates a connection with herbal medicine that is so much different than buying a box of tea at Walmart. It really increases bringing ourselves back to femininity and through the earth, which is how we've done it since the dawn of time. Especially endangered plants. If there's endangered plants that you want to use, instead of buying them, try your best to grow them. But not all of us have a green thumb or garden space or even the emotional or mental space or well-being to take on a project like growing an herb garden, even if it's just a couple. So there's options. These are some of the options, but I encourage you to also purchase from farmers markets and from local farmers you know here in Tucson. I know a few, so if you reach out to me, I can give you some farmers' names. Because I truly believe that we benefit from plants most when we are trading them and trading our medicines with each other like people have forever. When not buying locally, some prefer certain brands for ethical reasons and value. So I included some of my favorites here. Mountain Rose Herbs is super good. Rosemary's Garden, Star West Botanicals. Those are kind of my go-tos if I need to buy bulk items where I'm going to be making a bunch of teas for other people or things like that. You can also go to local shops like Chinese herbal shops, Ayurvedic herbal shops. A lot of acupuncturists have herbal sections, and I truly believe that it's most ethical to buy from people who know exactly where their plants came from. And in a bind, Amazon has a ton of these specific types of brands. And you can also just make sure you're searching for organic and just really read the reviews on them. But at the end of the day, people just have preferences. So go with what you like best. There's no wrong answer. So I'm going to start with perineum healing because this is most common, hands down, one of like the biggest fears that I get as a birth worker is how am I going to heal my stitches or if I cut after. So here's some options to give you relief from that. Whether it's like a 1st-degree tear, a 2nd-degree tear, a 3rd-degree tear, or just like tiny little abrasions, it still takes a couple weeks to truly heal that. And then there's also the abrasions inside of our vaginas and our cervix, and that also takes time to heal. And so we'll talk about how we can heal all of those parts. Healing the perineum can include solution on pads, like everybody has seen padsicles. That's a really common one where you put witch hazel and aloe and lavender essential oil and you roll them up and you put them in the freezer and you use it for the first couple days before you switch to heat. And that's super soothing for a lot of people. And you can make it your own, and you can add any of these listed herbs to improve it and make it your own recipe. So the real MVP though is the Peri bottle, and I'm pro Freedom Mom Peri bottles, like the one similar to the one pictured. I think the one pictured's an off-brand. I'm also pro paying less for the same thing. But that one I think is like honestly a necessity, just because of its ease of use. You're going to use it more often, and it's just going to heal you better. But any Peri bottle does work. It's just the convenience of it. Salve and even Manuka honey can be very beneficial in healing the perineum as like a poultice on your abrasions or stitches. And it's also great for healing. I don't want to leave anybody out for our cesarean moms. And it's great for all of these salves are great for putting on scars and to heal. And a lot of them are antibacterial and antimicrobial. So it's really super healing for everything. And if it's going to be really healing for our most sensitive parts, then you know that it's not going to hurt or cause any stinging. But always try it on your skin first to make sure you don't have an allergy to any of the herbs. So try it on like the palm of your hand or the back of your hand or even your cheek to make sure that your skin reacts normally to the herbs. And then there's also sitz baths, which was mentioned, and those are super great for healing the perineum, the cervix, and the uterus. So not just if you tore. And then most of us know that the perineum is just in this location right here. Horrible little circle, but yeah. So this is the first Peri bottle recipe that I'm sharing. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about it while you look over this recipe. It's super easy to do. Most everyone has a Peri bottle. They give you one at the hospital. Sometimes they give you a couple, and if they don't, they're sometimes in the room. Just take a couple. Your midwife also may have supplied you one or told you where to get one, and you may have just bought one on your own, like the Frida. So it's super easy to get started. I've listed several ingredients, which I empower you to decide which ones are the right recipe for you, which could be all of these herbs or just a few. Really be intuitive during this healing time and what works for you. If there's a smell of an herb that just is disgusting to you, don't use it. You don't need it. You can swap it out for an herb with similar properties. So a little about these herbs I listed as your potential ingredients. Witch hazel, it comes in liquid form for things for the Peri bottle, but you can also get it in its natural state. It's a flower, but you'll usually see it in like a little bottle. It relieves inflammation. It's an astringent, reduces swelling. It's antibacterial, so super perfect for perineum healing. Calendula is antifungal, antimicrobial, heals tissues and body wounds, and it heals just about any skin condition really well. Comfrey is anti-inflammatory, soothing, and it's super great topically. Great for a poultice as well if you just want to directly put it on a wound. The same with plantain. Chamomile is aromatic, so it's really good to add to things to make it smell really nice. It's antiseptic, antibacterial, antifungal, and it's calming. Plantain, often used as a poultice, is immune boosting, decreases pain and swelling, and has vitamins A and C. Yarrow is anti-inflammatory, stops wound bleeding, and it's also used as period regulation. So remember to use yarrow in your teas too if you are feeling like your period's not getting back to the regulation that you had before pregnancy. And then Epsom salts, though they're not an herb, it contains magnesium. which is really great for us. And a lot of times women especially have low magnesium. So I always advise everybody to take their magnesium. It's detoxifying, relaxing, and helps your body release serotonin. And it also is pain relieving. So if you've read this recipe by now, after I've been talking, you can see it's pretty straightforward. You basically just decoct the herbs by boiling them together, strain it, and then pour half of it into your peri bottle, set it next to your bathroom in your little basket station for postpartum. And when you're ready to go to the bathroom, you fill it halfway with nice warm water, and then you just use the whole bottle, and it's magical. Definitely do that. And it's not too late to do it if you've had a baby months ago. If you're feeling like you might start to have a yeast infection coming, or you just feel really sore, go ahead and use it. And all those properties that I just read is super useful for the vulva and vagina. So talk a little bit about breast care and nursing, specifically on milk production and soothing sore nipples, because that's what I hear most often needing remedies for. We all know it's super stressful. We feel like we have to produce a ton of milk for our baby, and it's a super anxiety time for a lot of people. But some never have cracked nipples, and some people never have mastitis, and they just never have to deal with it, but some do. So while solving any type of latch fixes, and some other issues that could be the reason for the pain in your breast in the fourth trimester, it's best to at least get relief while you're waiting for a solution, like a lip tie or something, but just make sure that you're still healing and you're not just grinning and bearing it. Same goes for those who produce a ton of milk easily and some who don't. Latch may solve the issue, or your body may just be signaling it needs some help to restore your body to homeostasis, in which case herbs can help. Oh, and then to mention that breast milk is also our natural given antibiotic for our nipples. So rub it in and let it dry out as well to soothe nipples. Here is a milk tea recipe. And like you can see again, I've added several ingredients, and just know you can use all the ingredients, or you can choose to use just a few ingredients that work best for your body. So I'd like to acknowledge, though, that not everyone chooses to nurse, and I'm here to be the person who says that's your choice. But if you do choose to, this is for you. The second acknowledgement is that the best way to produce more milk is by putting baby at the breast more often and ensuring the latch is deep and well established. A lactation consultant may be a great idea for you if you feel like something's off and the pain is not going away. Okay, so let's talk about the herbs. Red raspberry leaf, which I talked about earlier, you may have been using while you were pregnant. It's my favorite herb because it's super safe for all parts of the year, the childbearing year. Tons of vitamins, which aid the body in regulation, hormone regulation, which is great for milk production because we know that our hormones create the milk supply. And it also helps with afterbirth bleeding. So it's a perfect tea to start right away, day one, or to just continue. Nettle is highly nutritious. It has antioxidants. It stimulates milk production. Fennel seeds increase milk production, and they're full of estrogen-like properties. So that's why it helps with milk production, and also why it's a really good one for fertility. So if you're wanting to get pregnant and you're at that postpartum stage, I would suggest fennel seeds and also any nutritious herbs. Milk thistle, its name gives it away, increases prolactin and it boosts milk supply. Super effective when taking daily for the first weeks of postpartum. So if you've already had a baby previously and you feel like breastfeeding was super stressful, go ahead and start taking these super easy on your body herbs. All of them can be taken while you're pregnant. So you can start taking these at the end of your third trimester so that it becomes such a routine. And then also just bringing that warmth back to the body is super healing, besides all of these healing properties in the herbs. Oat straw. Often you find oat cookies for milk supply. We've all seen them. We've all tried to bake them from Pinterest. The reasons why you use oat is because it has super nutritious value, and that brings our body back to homeostasis so that our hormones can regulate properly and produce the right amount of milk. It also builds adrenals, and it's nourishing like metal, and it's just super safe. Ginger supports immune system, increases milk, and it's been tested a bunch actually for milk production with a notable increase. It's commonly used in Thailand for a milk supplement. So super easy to make a tea. My go-tos for my palate are to use red raspberry leaf, nettle, and oat straw, just those. And I find that I'm able to take it twice a day because I like the taste of those combined. I also always put honey and lemon in my tea because I just was never a tea drinker. This is like new and I use it as medicine and I'm starting to enjoy it and finding out what makes me enjoy it more. And it's definitely the honey and lemon. Okay, so let's talk about salves a little bit. These are a little bit harder than a tea or just making a tea for your peri bottle, just because it requires more steps and more time. And the fourth trimester isn't always the best time to be standing in the kitchen for hours making salves, but definitely do it if you feel comfortable doing it. And make these while you're pregnant, so that you have them and you have these medicines and keep them forever and use them for your baby's cuts and for diaper rash, because anything that can heal a sensitive nipple can heal a sensitive bottom. So all of these herbs and oils are really safe for the skin. The only one I would comment on is arnica. Sometimes people do feel a little bit of irritation with it. So try it on your cheek first, like I said, and see if any redness appears. If no redness appears, it's safe to use in sensitive areas. Okay, so they're actually super fun to make. In the directions I shared here, they're specific for a faster way. It doesn't mention heating and infusing the oils. So you can choose to heat the infused oils and make the process faster. If you need a salve like right away or in a couple days, you can put your herbs and oil into a jar. And then like in the second top right picture, whereas that has wax in it, you can just do the similar effect and put your jar in a pan of water and let it be on low heat for several hours. That will infuse your herbs similarly to letting it sit for a couple months, which is the traditional way of infusing herbs. So if you have time and you're just making herbs for the future, go ahead and put them in a jar with oil all the way to the top and keep it somewhere that it will be safe for like a month or two. And then you can strain it and use this direction. Beeswax is the most common when picking a wax because it's really healing. It also has antibacterial and antimicrobial properties. So It's healing in itself. But there's other options like candelilla wax. And I actually use candelilla wax because it's easier to use. It comes in a different type of pellet, and it is made from a flower. And I just like that fact. And this is kind of what it looks like. And so you would just pour that, and then you would pour the oil in with that. Most commonly, people use olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. It has skin healing properties in itself. And then it's common to add a dash of vitamin E oil that makes the salve last longer and has its own benefits. You can also add in other things like coconut oil or shea butter. We know that both of those are really healing and softening. And so those are super great to add in, and add in as much as you want until the consistency is how you want to use it. Some people like a harder salve where they dig their fingers in and they feel like it lasts longer because it doesn't melt as easy. So in that case, you would add more beeswax or more candelilla wax and less olive oil, which stays liquid. So you just kind of had to play with it and make up your own recipe, which is what makes it fun and makes it tailored to you specifically. Calendula, we spoke about, is a super healing herb for skin. Arnica, pain relieving, reduces swelling and helps bruises, chapped lips, and aches. Comfrey, we spoke about, it treats wounds and inflammation. Aloe, not just for sunburns, it moisturizes and it soothes, so you can add a little bit of aloe in with your shea butter or coconut oil that you add to your waxes. And plantain, we talked about, it's great for its wound healing properties. So let's talk about this super easy resolution for mastitis, engorged breasts, clogged ducts, and just mostly for people with an oversupply or people who are unable to breastfeed at the moment, or even those wanting to wean their toddler or baby. There's compresses are super underrated because they're so easy to use. The rosemary compress is anti-inflammatory. It's super great for mastitis, and you can use it directly before nursing. So it's super safe, and baby can have the slight bit of rosemary that's left on you perfectly fine. But nothing really will be left because it all soaks into the washcloth. The fenugreek compress is really great for mastitis and clogged ducts as well. The dandelion compress, similarly, it takes down inflammation. So it's really great, especially if you have a mastitis infection. Cabbage leaves, either chilled or at room temperature, can decrease milk supply, thus helping when overengorged or oversupply or mastitis. So it basically decreases it. Similar to mint, it can decrease it, but it just does it faster. Cabbage is super fast. It's kind of crazy how fast it works. All the compresses can be cold or warm, depending on if you're using it for pain or if you're using it for release. So for really bad pain, try it cold. If you're wanting to release any of it, like a clogged duct or a mastitis, use warm and then express as much as you can. That's often why people use cabbage leaves cold, because it can be painful to wean, and so it also helps with that. So yeah, these are just super easy to do. You just grab a washcloth and you just follow these really simple steps, and you can put just these single herbs as your compress, or combine them and make a poultice, or combine them and make a tea and soak your washcloth in that, and then soak it on your breast. And it's great to use in between. So when you're just in a rocking chair waiting for the next feed, that's when you're wanting to put these, and have your partner help you. screenshot this and send it to him so that he can make them for you and bring them to you in between, or she or your mom or your postpartum doula or whoever your support person is. Even your other young child could help with all of these remedies. And most of them you can get super cheap, free if you grow it. And a lot of herbs are also sold at grocery stores, so super accessible. So now we'll talk about mental health herbs, because as we all know, it's common as our hormones are trying to regulate back to homeostasis to go through a lot of emotion, and sometimes that can be postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis or postpartum anxiety or postpartum rage, all of the things. And all of it is a variation of normal, but it all deserves recognition and it all deserves to be soothed while you're finding other solutions or solving the issue that's making you feel that way. A lot of times there's nothing happening to make you feel that way, and it's just your moods regulating. So I just want to acknowledge that herbs cannot replace the lack of support, medications, or the lack of resources for mental health. If you are struggling, please reach out to myself or anyone you feel comfortable with. Anybody in this call, this Zoom meeting, this Facebook Live is a safe person to talk to about how you're feeling. So please reach out, and we all have tons of resources, especially here in Tucson. So let us help you, and we can work through this. The fourth trimester and the villages are a safe place to express this. I also want to mention magnesium and probiotics have also been proven to often be depleted in those postpartum. So I encourage you to add those daily and see a change in your mood. Skullcap is one to caution with using with antidepressants, as it can cause increase in sedation. For those not on medications, this will be a lifesaver for anxiety and lack of sleep. If you are on an antidepressant and concerned that it might contradict, ask your therapist or your doctor if they feel like Skullcap is okay for you, and then also ask them what dose they feel is okay for you. If you choose to take it into your own hands, just really listen to your body and stop use if it's affecting you. Chamomile is a relaxant and it's anxiety reducing. It's also an antidepressant. Lavender is calming, anxiety reducing. It's an antidepressant and it calms without sedation. So it's a super safe herb for literally everybody. I even give it to my kids before nap instead of melatonin. We have lavender. So ashwagandha is another really great one. Caution using this as it's also a sedative and antidepressant, anxiety reducing, supports sleep, improves cognitive function, and reduces stress. So many people will take ashwagandha alone as their holistic antidepressant, and it works really well for them, or paired with some of these other herbs. So if you are wanting to switch from a medication to an herb, talk about this to your doctor and talk to them about slowly weaning and transitioning and their viewpoint before you make your decision. Turmeric helps with depression, aches, mood, and memory. And sometimes the way our body feels and our pain sensors can make our mood so much worse without us even realizing. So turmeric's great to add. So here's a tea. So if you're really feeling baby blues, or you're really just feeling like it's been a crap week and you've been awake more than you've been asleep, and it's like baby's breastfeeding every 40 minutes and you're just like gonna lose it, this is the perfect tea for that. But like I said, use caution if you're using antidepressants or sedatives. So this contains skullcap, chamomile, lavender, and ashwagandha and turmeric. I personally would use all of them together, but like I said previously, make your own recipe and you can choose from this list. So you'll just simply combine them like any other tea and make sure they really steep for a good 15 minutes in the hot water because that just increases the benefits. And then of course, add honey and lemon. You should taste a little bit of the lavender and chamomile in this one, but turmeric and ashwagandha together can be bitter. So definitely add honey to this one. Yeah, this is a super good one to take, especially before bed, as a lot of these are sedatives. And these are all safe to take while nursing. So there shouldn't be any side effects at all for baby. So there's many more recipes out there and even more that you could personally create or tailor to fit your own mind, body, and spirit. Herbs and plant medicine are conveniently here for us to use as medicine from the dawn of time. Many pharmaceuticals are mainly made from these herbs we've talked about here today, and they just add human-made chemicals for different reasons like shelf life or bulking or to enhance certain benefits from the herbs. So we can all agree that herbs work and we're using them all the time. And I empower everybody here to use them in your home and teach your children how to use them so that you can be self-reliant and self-care in a deep way and in a connective way. So I really hope it empowers you. And instead of maybe using ZzzQuil to fall asleep, use skullcap and chamomile and make a little tea before bed, like a half hour before bed. Or instead of using Pepto, you can reach for your chamomile, your ginger, and your mint and make a quick tea, and you should feel relief within a half hour. Ran out of Bactine? Make a quick spray with witch hazel, calendula, and comfrey, and spray it on any wounds or sores to prevent infection and to soothe the wound. So you can make anything forever. This is mainly about fourth trimester, but this continues. As we know, postpartum is forever. The biggest thing is that even though they all have their own properties and some work better than others, and some work better alone, there's no set in stone rules. If you hate the smell of plantain, swap it out for similar properties like comfrey. This is your healing journey, not the person's next to you. So I'm just going to open it now for any questions or feedback about what herbal remedies were super helpful for you in the fourth trimester. And yeah, I'm just going to open up this time now.
Thank you, Hayley. This has been so enlightening. I do have a question about plantains. I was surprised to see that on your list. So tell me more about, because I've eaten plantains.
So the plantain I'm referring to is the leaf plantain.
Okay.
So you actually can find it growing as a weed in most places. And it's like a big leaf like this big, and it's dark green. Actually, let me go back to one of my slides. I have a picture of it. It's the one right here. And it looks super similar. These look like weeds just growing. And all of them are super beneficial, and people usually just mow them over, but they're great for poultices and everything.
Fascinating. Thank you. Any other questions from our Facebook family before we go back to Zoom?
Didn't see any questions come up on Facebook, but those of you who are in Facebook land, if you'd like to join us on Zoom, feel free. Why don't we pop off now if that's okay?
Yeah.
Great. Sound good?
Bye, everybody.
Bye, thank you.